Good morning and Happy New Year. Welcome, citizens of Douglas County. The January 6, 2025 work session of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners will come to order. Roll call. Clerk, would you please call roll for the record?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner District 1, Henry Mitchell. Present. Commissioner District 2, Whitney Kenner Jones.
Present.
Commissioner District 3, Martin Raxton.
Present.
Commissioner District 4, Vice Chair Mark Alcaraz.
Present.
Chairman Ramona Jackson Jones.
Present. Board of Commissioners, certainly today we need to approve the agenda and adopt it. Clerk, I believe you had something to add regarding the agenda, and certainly it's up to the board if they want to allow it to
Yes.
be added.
We had a request from the Sheriff's Office for authorization to go into an agreement with Accurate Controls Incorporated for 24 months to complete the replacement upgrade of the security electronic system at the Law Enforcement Center in the amount of $6,230,498.72, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. And I believe these have already been presented to legal. I don't see Ken Connor, but Stan Copeland, did you want to explain this item to them?
Could you come forward, Mr. Copeland, please?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Stan Copeland. I know most of y'all, but I run a consulting firm, and the sheriff has hired me to look at the security electronics upgrade.
Okay, Ken is here. There.
Here comes Chief Connor.
Yeah. Chief. Perfect timing.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, good. I apologize for being late. I made it.
Happy New Year,
Yes,
Chief.
ma'am. Good morning, everyone. I'm not sure exactly where he left off, but you know that we included this in the SPLOST for the upgrade security of the jail. And once again, it's just not cameras. It's the whole thing. It's locking, unlocking of doors. It's intercoms. It's the control center. And so it's pretty significant. And when we put this out initially, if you recall, we had Buford Golf. We had retained to give us an idea of a general cost. So they come in and assessed it, and at the time we were told, I think, $4 million. When that was, you know, there's a lot of components that this is a proprietary system, and they felt like that we would be able to use you know, certain components. And now we have, I guess they've had an integrator, is what I guess you would call it, come in and has looked at every part, from my understanding, and determined that we're going to need a little more than what Buford Golf had originally assessed, because they're the ones that actually put things into play. And so they had put that out to bid, and we had a group, a board that looked at the proposals. They felt comfortable going with a company called Accurate. Once they had revealed that that's who they had chosen, then the procurement director showed the pricing, and the Accurate was first, and I think CM. There was a company, CM something, that was second. CM was actually the lowest. I think they come in right around $4.5 million. But Accurate was in the middle. So based on talking to some of the board members that looked at it, they just felt like they were a small company, and they had proprietary type equipment, and we would be back in the same boat that we would be in prior to knowing what the price was. So I think the proposal through Accurate is 6.2, and there's things that we can discuss that would lower that. One issue, it's fairly significant, but it's not going to knock a lot off of 6.2. But the board back in the day had chosen to follow the Georgia Archives retention schedule. And that requires the holding cell, according to the prior county attorney that we have an email on October the 8th of 23, that under his assessment that we would be required to hold cell videos retained for 180 days. So our current system is not 4K. And if you know about recordings, the higher quality you get, the more storage you need. So currently, on average, now we have some cameras that last longer, like where the intake, where they take their money in and possessions in. We've had issues before with people saying, well, I had this ring or that ring and didn't get it back. So they had chosen to have those cameras retained for about 5 years. So it's very insignificant, interactions, but it's so, but beside that, we've got an average retention rate of 60 days. So currently, with the low-quality cameras, we're only keeping 60 days. We're not compliant with what y'all had chosen to do with this system. So going with the new system, you're going to have upgraded cameras, and you're looking at getting to the requirements that y'all have set in place. So I would 200,000 or 300,000 roughly. That if you chose to leave it the way it is, which I don't recommend, then you could save about 200,000 or 300,000 off of it. But I don't recommend that. Y'all put that in place. I think 6 months, based on the lawsuits and things that we get after an inmate leaves down the road, that a 6 month would probably save the county money in the long run in legal. So, but that's a decision that the board will have to make if you want to comply with what y'all had put in place or leave it like it is. Other than that, if any specific questions on the intricate details of the system, you know that Stan Copeland has been retained by the sheriff as the consultant and has worked closely with this bid process, and Buford Golf. He can answer any of the specific questions.
Thank you so much, Chief. Board, do you have any questions for Mr. Stan Copeland? Okay. No questions. Thank you. Oh, Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes,
you have the floor.
Just a couple, and Happy New Year.
Yes, sir.
First question, so what's is the source of funding this coming out of SPLOST or?
Yes, sir.
Oh, this is all SPLOST, okay, all right.
It's more than we had allocated, but we'll just have to balance.
Right. What was the number before we got to the 6.2?
When we come to the board, it was $4 million is
Okay.
what was the anticipated cost. And if you recall, we retained Buford Golf, and they had a percentage of the overall cost of the project.
Right.
And we had a lengthy discussion about that. But it was capped at 400,000. So this is not going to cause them to get any more money.
Mm-hmm.
So, they were kind of locked in at that rate.
But we do have the SPLOST is the funding source of all of this, though.
Yes, sir.
That's my major. Now, with the upgrades, because it sounds to me like we've discovered some other stuff, some possibilities, right, Stan? And so that way, to do it right, this way we can get it right and do it right and get a longer efficiency out of what we're doing versus the way we were going at this, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, and Stan, do you want to kind of speak to that part of it, if you would, please?
Yes. Yes, Commissioner. A couple of things, as the chief said. One thing is, when they went through, Buford Golf are the engineers, when they went through the entire system, there were some assumptions made, and one of those assumptions were that they could utilize portions of the locking control devices, reuse them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once we tore into the system and evaluated it, the mechanical part is fine.
Correct.
The motor, the turning gear, but all the diodes and all the resistors were proprietary.
Got it.
Which, be honest with you, I've never seen. But anyway, it was proprietary. So there are roughly 1,000 security doors at the jail that each one will have to be replaced as part of the system. Also, I do want to let the board know that in this process, we made sure that this is a totally open source system. So there is no proprietary components in
Good.
it. And we have negotiated a 5-year warranty and a 5-year service plan included in this. So given the current rates for Black Creek, that will save in the 5-year term about $1 million in costs associated with the maintenance of the system.
Got it.
Plus Accurate, which is controlled. They have systems at Paulding County, at Forsyth County. They're doing work for the state prison system, so they have a Georgia connection. They have a good crew here. But they're an excellent company, and this is a 2-year project in a jail that must maintain, must be operational the whole time. So that's one of the issues.
So the good part is it'll. Oh, let's go back to the warranty. So this 5-year warranty.
Yes, sir.
So it'll cover upgrades. It'll cover any defaults that come about. Or,
Correct. There's 2 components. There's
Okay.
the warranty on the equipment itself.
Okay.
The chosen company is Hanwha. Hanwha is the one of the leaders in video surveillance. It's Hanwha cameras and a Hanwha MVR, or operating system, which carries a 5-year component warranty.
Okay.
But then Accurate Controls has put in place a service plan also.
Okay.
That includes any upgrades to the system that'll be automatic. They'll be covered. That covers licensing and all those things.
And any labor cost to come in to adjust or pull a bolt
Right.
or whatever.
Yes, sir. It's all included in their service plan.
Got it. Okay. Good. Okay. All righty. Thank you. I think that's all the question I have. So I'll yield back, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. I just have one question for
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Mr. Copeland, is there an on-call service agreement built into this agreement? You know, someone on call in case there's a malfunction that you need to call them out in emergency?
Yes, ma'am. There is a 95% of issues with it can be handled over IP with a secure connection to the sheriff's office, so they can handle that remotely.
Okay.
However, there is a component that if there's a catastrophic failure, that they will have an actual technician here on site and ready to take care of it.
24 hours availability, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions, board? Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
With that being said, board, what I'm going to do is, do we have a motion to approve the agenda with the added item from the sheriff's office? Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, just please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries to add this item to the agenda, including approving the regular agenda that's been presented to us today. All right. Board of Commissioners, just as a reminder, please remember we have 3 minutes to make remarks and 2 minutes for rebuttal. Clerk, you have the floor for the public comment.
Yes, ma'am. We had 2 individuals sign in, but before I call you up, I'll just remind you, you'll have 3 minutes to address the board. And once your 3 minutes are up, we'll ask you to complete your statement. And when you reach the podium, please speak directly into the mic and restate your name and your address, please. The first individual is Ann Guider.
Good morning and Happy New Year. I want to thank Madam Chairman and the commissioners for allowing public speaking. I come this morning as the follow-up from the last BOC work session. in November regarding streetlights, wherein I advised the board that streetlights was established as a tax district, not a fee, back in 1990 by the board at that time. Over a period of 30-plus years, fees were never collected for streetlights, as it was a tax incorporated as a part of the tax bill. I have here a copy of the resolution, which I believe you have all received a copy of it. During the November meeting, this past November, Tax Commissioner Baker stated that the resolutions he was asking you to approve now were the standard resolutions that you approve every 4 years, and that the BOC approved the one on streetlights in 2021 with a 5-0 vote, which meant I voted for it. And he brought that out, and because I was on the board at that time. I want to thank him for saying that, because I was very curious why I did not voice my concern at the time. Because everyone knows that I was always questioning new stuff and old stuff. My curiosity led me to watch the work session of July 1 of 2020. Of 2021, I'm sorry, yes. A Zoom call because of the pandemic and a holiday week for many. I was at the beach at the time with my family. Commissioner Baker was at the top of the agenda, and you can go back and look at it, and repeatedly stated the resolutions were the same ones he did every 4 years, never mentioning he was taking $2 from the county for himself for every bill containing a streetlight. Not a word about that. I would only guess it would have amounted to maybe a couple of $1,000s to him personally. Was that an oversight? Maybe, maybe not. As he did the same thing to this board at the November meeting regarding the fees he collects from the cities. He never mentioned, and I went back and watched the work session to make sure I was correct, that he took a larger fee for himself at the expense of the county. The old resolution split 50-50, with him getting $2, the county getting $2 per bill for the cities. And he changed it with him getting $3 and the county getting $1. But again, he never mentioned it at the meeting. So he failed to mention he changed the formula and used the phrase standard resolution several times. He certainly was given the chance to advise the board at the time. The purpose of the work session is for the elected officials and the directors to point out any new items or changes to any old. And most all of them do so, as the sheriff's office just did, except Commissioner Baker. I always heard that a half-truth is a whole lie. Another oversight by the tax commissioner? I truly doubt it. Meetings around the holidays are often used by politicians to try to avoid public scrutiny. This time, he drove this board into his plan. Whether you call it manipulation, lying by omission, being sneaky, it doesn't matter. It certainly cannot be classified as integrity, which is what the public demands of each of you, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Guider. Appreciate you coming in, and certainly this matter will be taken under advisement. Clerk, who do we have next?
Oh, I'm sorry. Next, we have Ronnie Chestnut.
Good morning and Happy New Year's. I'm on the behalf of the Winston community. No data, no rezoning of the Waldrick Farm. I guess I have a question or concern. how much will we sell Winston, and how much will it cost us? I know the last bid was $875 million over 15 years. I know for the last 30 years I've been down here, I've moved here, and my in-laws in Winston, off Matty McCoy, has lived there. And for 30 years, I watched them work their fingers to the bone for an acre of land. They tore it both day and night to pay off their land. And now we have a big corporation who has 164 acres of land, want to impede on not only our community, but our school. And I find it's a danger. I find it appalling that we would allow that next to a school. We said, I know corporations said, oh, there's no danger. There's no health concerning the matter. But anytime that you have waste, there should be a concern, whether from diesel, whether from noise, whether from water pollution, or any other thing of that magnitude. I watched a generation that bent over so I could stand up. You have your position because someone bent over for you guys. And I asked the question, how will we allow big corporations to keep coming in as far as Trauma Crow, the Waffle House, the Storage House, Walmart, just to govern our government? Who are governors? Are the people still the government, or is it corporation? How much will we sell Winston community for $1? Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we certainly will take this matter under advisement. I appreciate you taking the time to come in this morning. Clerk?
There are no other comments.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, certainly next on the agenda is the meeting minutes, approval of the minutes. Please be prepared to approve or deny accordingly tomorrow. Okay, agenda items will start. And Clerk, you have the floor.
Yes, ma'am. There will be a public hearing tomorrow regarding a new beer, wine, and liquor license for Curiosity Restaurant and Lounge. And Allison Duncan is here to give any details for that.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners. We appreciate the opportunity to present this item to you. We do have a public hearing in regard to a new beer, wine, and liquor license. This is for Curiosity Restaurant and Lounge. The applicant has completed all of the required items that would need for the staff to recommend approval of this request. The location is at 411 Maxim Road, Suite 100, Austell, Georgia. The signs have been placed on the property for the required amount of time. The advertisements have been run in the newspaper. I do believe the applicant will be here tomorrow if you have any questions in regard to the hearing, but I'm glad to answer any questions that you have today on this item.
Okay, thank you. Board, do we have any questions for our planning and zoning manager? Okay, Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
So again, is this an existing facility or existing establishment, or is this a net new?
It is an existing building, but a new business in an existing location.
Okay. And has there been any opposition from any of the other tenants of the building or anyone in that area that you're aware of?
We have not received anything in the file, but they will have the opportunity to speak at the public hearing that has been advertised through both the signs and the advertisements in the paper.
Okay. All right, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Raxton. Okay,
Okay.
Clerk?
We'll
Thank you so
move
much.
to- Thank you. We'll move to grants. Number 5 is authorization to accept the VOCA grant award from the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, funding to the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia PAC in the amount of $124,202 with no match, establish the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Laura Thompson.
Good morning. Happy New Year, everyone. Yes, this is our continuation grant. It's the same as we received in 2024. It is for $124,202 with no match. And this is for a full-time victim advocate, paying her salary and her benefits, and a half of a salary for another victim advocate with no benefits.
Okay. Any questions, board? All right, thank you so much.
Thank y'all. Have a good day.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Clerk?
Number 6, authorization to accept the VOCA funding for federal fiscal year 2025 in the amount of $74,229 with no match. Establish the budget and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Melissa LeBlanc.
Hey, good morning. This is also our continuation grant from the Prosecuting Attorney Council through the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council for the grant period of October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025. Our office received approval for $74,229 with the matching funds being waived. The funds are for personnel only. It will help support the salaries of 2 victim advocates, our bilingual early notification victim advocate, and our community resource and domestic violence victim advocate. And this is for us to comply with Marcy's Law and the Crime Victims Bill of Rights.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, board? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Mhm.
We'll move to business items. Number 7, resolution to establish the charges for street lighting in each street light district to be collected by the tax commissioner. This was deferred from December 17th, 2024. Tax Commissioner Greg Baker.
Good morning.
Good morning, Happy New
I
Year.
don't know why I'm back, but I'm here to answer any questions you have.
Okay, board, we have any questions for the tax commissioner regarding tab number 7, resolution to establish the charges for the streetlights? Okay. Commissioner Kenner Jones, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I actually went back through all of the resolutions starting from April 1st, 1986, which is when the first charges for streetlights were put in. And I note in that resolution that there was no fee associated with the collection of those taxes. And then in 1990, when the resolution was adopted, that one also did not have any fees associated with the collection of taxes. There was also a public hearing on April the 3rd, 1990, to address that fee. I would presume there's no video for us to go back and watch, but that at that time that there was also any discussion about how those fees would be collected, why they would be necessary. The 1990 resolution was amended in May of that year, setting out the schedule for the collection of those fees, and there was not a fee associated with the collection of those fees. It continued under that same, I guess, train of thought or process until voted on again September 18th of 1990, and then modified for the first time on July the 6th, 2021. That was the first time that there was a resolution for the tax commissioner to collect a fee associated with collection of the taxes. So was there a change or a modification to the the procedures? Did something occur that caused a fee to be necessary?
Well, I think, as I explained last time, Madam Superintendent came to me. They wanted to raise the fees that you guys were charging, and she offered to give me $2 a fee per that. That's when it got changed. So I did not approach her. She approached me, and that she was the county manager at that time. So that's when it got changed.
I also noticed in the 2021 resolution that it was just to collect the fees for that 4-year period. But in the resolution as it's presented to us today, the $2 fee, is now being requested to automatically renew without further action of the county on an annual basis for the lifetime of the agreement up to 20 years. What was the cause of that modification?
So that we didn't have to go back and do this again and again and again. You could change that. I don't have any problem with that. You have your discretion to change that. But it was just so we didn't have to come back and do this every year, every 4 years and all that. So if you want to change that, that's fine with me.
Madam Chair, I yield back.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Kenneth Jones. Any other questions, board? Commissioner Raxton?
Thank you. And again, I guess just going back to the 20 years, because initially, like I said, it was for much less than the 20 years. So again, just trying to get a better understanding, because within 20 years, things can change.
Yep.
So if you could just walk us through what was kind of the thought process
Well,
or the business rationale for the 20 years.
I looked at other counties' contracts, and that's pretty much what a lot of them did. If you look at Fulton County, Gwinnett County, some of the other counties, and that's what they put in their contracts and stuff, so that they, when I talked to them, that's what they put in their contracts. And you don't have to agree with that 20-year. You could do it 4 years. You can do it every year. You can do it every 2 years. That's at your discretion. So don't think 20 years is something that has to be done. That's at your discretion. You have the right to change anything in that contract you want. So it's not something that's in stone. I'm not going to be mad if you change it. I'm going to still be the same person that comes up here with a smile for a while. Now, I have my moments, don't get me wrong, but that's not written in stone. I don't write it, I don't try to put anything in stone. My job and your job is try to get along, try to agree on things, and come to a resolution. And that's what I try to do. And so as long as we communicate and try to come to a resolution, I'm fine. So you can do 6 months if you want. I don't have any problem with that.
All right, very good. All right, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Commissioner Raxton. Commissioner Mitchell?
Oh, yes, I do. I do have just for clarification, so I can understand, make sure we're clear on, because I think the question is, what's the difference in collecting this particular tax or fee? So let's start there, so we can get a clear understanding of that.
Well, let's get a real clear understanding, because some people call it a tax. Prior tax commissioner calls it a tax. It is not a tax. It is a special assessment,
Okay.
which is either a fee or a special assessment. It is not a tax. It is not on the digest. All taxes are on the digest. This is not on the digest. So it's not the revenues digest. Everything that is attached tax has to be on the Department of Revenue's digest.
Right.
It is not on the digest. So it is not a tax.
Got it.
So wherever they get a tax from, they're totally wrong, because it's not a tax. You can call it a special assessment or you can call it a fee, but it's not a tax.
So within the resolution, I guess I'll defer to legal to make sure that whatever and however this goes, to reassure kind of what we are calling this is the proper wording for this. So that part will be clear. So I'll defer that to legal to say, which is it, or what do we call this, or assess this, or?
So it was legal's understanding, good morning, by the way, that this
Good
was
morning.
Good morning. A special tax district, which hence this is why the language in the resolution that's in your packet reads as such. Use the microphone.
Yes, please, if you would. I can go in the back
So
there.
it was legal's understanding that this was a special tax district,
Right.
where each parcel is its own district for the assessment of the tax. And so if we are wrong about that, then we obviously need to have a conversation, because the resolution was drafted with that understanding.
Right. Understood. And the reason I'm deferring to you and legal to reassure whatever that is and whatever the resolution consists of is we're correct in that dialect. And the other portion to this, do we collect a county fee or tax for street lighting? That's my first question. And then I want to break it out to say about the cities that you collect for, so we can kind of separate the two, because I think that's kind of where the district became a portion of this dialect, correct, or not?
Well, let's correct the language, because it's not a tax.
Okay.
That make perfectly clear on that.
Mhm.
You can call it a special assessment, or you can call it a fee. Either one of the two is fine. And I checked with the Department of Revenue, and I've checked with all the rest of my tax commissioners. It's either a special assessment or a fee.
Okay.
And your question was, do you get the money from that?
Oh, no. Let me
Or
go.
the city?
Right, there's a fee, we'll call it a fee for practical purposes. There's a fee in the district for you collecting streetlights, a fee for, let's say, the city of Douglasville, correct?
City of Douglasville, they do theirs, it's totally separate from yours.
Right,
Theirs is not included on the digest, not included
Correct.
in your figures. It's totally separate from yours.
so would that be considered a district, and legal, just follow me with this, would that be considered, is this conversation about the city of Douglasville, the county, and Billerica, or is it about Douglas County?
Let's throw out district
Okay,
cold-heartedly.
Okay.
None of this is district.
okay, got
Because
it,
streetlights are all over the county.
correct,
So it's not any District 1, District 2, District 3, any of those districts.
got you. And I'm with you, and the only reason I'm trying to break it out to make sure that we understand that there is a such thing as you collect for the cities or for the city of Douglasville, a streetlight fee. Am I correct?
They do, yes.
Okay.
They do, yes.
Is this conversation we're having now about that, or is not even about that?
Not even about that.
So this is strictly about,
county.
this is strictly county. So the county is charging a streetlight fee,
Yes,
okay, or special assessment, whatever you was trying to call.
yes.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Okay.
may I? I'm so
Yes.
sorry. I'll defer to Commissioner Kenner Jones. She had her hand up.
Right,
Apologize.
we are, but I just want to make sure before we relinquish the floor, are we going along, are you with me so far, what the conversation is, what we're having this conversation that is not, this is not about the city of Douglasville, this is all about the county.
Yes.
And that's why it's not a district now. Now I get it, it's about the county.
Yes, this is county.
Got it.
Strictly county.
Got it. And just so I can continue my dialect, I think Commissioner Jones want to kind of add in something here, if you would, please, go ahead.
So it's my understanding, going back to the resolution from 1990, and the purpose of them having to have a public hearing is because under OCGA 3644-8, this was created as a tax allocation district. So these streetlights are a tax they're a TAD. So it is a district. That is the appropriate language to use. It's not a special assessment and it's not a fee. It's a tax being collected for the operation of streetlights. The section in 1990, when this was created, 55-1109, created this district specifically for the purpose of public safety and security, much like the creation of a fire district if you live in an unincorporated county or somewhere like that, and public service has to be provided. So this is not a fee, it is a tax.
It is not a tax.
It's a tax because it's being allocated as a TAD.
Okay,
it's
so
not
where
a fee.
is it being taxed at?
That's what the $65 in essence per.
Where is it being taxed at? Where does that say that it's being taxed at?
It's the creation of a specific body or district as a
Okay.
tax allocation district.
Okay, where's the district?
It throughout the county, wherever streetlights may exist.
Okay. According to the Department of Revenue, you cannot have a tax on a street line. It's not a tax. A tax goes on the digest. It is not on the digest.
I'll yield back to you.
I don't know what the
Henry. Or,
resolution
Commissioner Mitchell.
does,
Okay.
but it's not a tax.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. And I guess I'm deferring back to you, legal. Just-
I'm waiting my turn.
Yes, go right ahead. You got the floor for now.
So, the tax commissioner's office, and I believe this gentleman is in your department, Travis McDonald, or he may be with engineering.
Say that again?
Engineering, Travis McDonald. So he sent me a document, he sent legal a document to review for today's meeting, right? And I had some questions in reference to the attachment. And in his response
Legal,
is
can you
what,
do me a quick favor? They need in the background
Okay.
for the microphone, if you would, just,
is it working?
it's working, it's just that they
Okay.
need you to kind of, there you go, okay.
In his response was the following, okay? Each residential subdivision is a separate streetlight tax district. When a new subdivision plat is recorded, it becomes its own street light district. Each parcel in the tax district gets a street light tax added to their yearly property tax bill. When commercial or industrial properties are developed and are required to install streetlights, they also become their own street light tax district. The current UDC calls for each street light tax district to be identified by a number assigned by development services. To my knowledge, we have never assigned numbers to those districts, so we are asking to eliminate that language from the UDC and then from the Code of Ordinances. Regarding my questions, he says each residential lot in a street light tax district pays a flat $65 tax. Commercial and industrial properties pay based on the length of their road frontage. This would be effective for tax year 2025. I believe the tax commissioner's agenda item is a resolution allowing him to continue collecting the streetlight taxes, establish the rates, and establish his fees. So I read that just because I wanted to give you the information we received and why the resolution was drafted as such. I think the confusion is whether or not it's a tax is because we consistently hear that language. It's appearing on the property tax bills. What I think the rub is that each parcel, for residential that is its own taxing district. It's its own special tax district, right? That I understand. Within the tax district, right? So for that individual parcel, I think what the tax commissioner is saying, within that tax district, he is wanting to charge an assessment for the street lights. The fact that it's $65 flat for everybody leads me to believe that it is more like an assessment or a fee, because it is not based on any, take for instance, like, I'm sorry, the $65 makes me feel like it's more like a tax as opposed to it being varied based on the consumption or for like a stormwater fee, right? That is varying depending on the property, right?
Okay.
Your $65 flat is consistently being referred to as a tax, but I think there's some confusion because it's not on the
Tax bill.
it is on the tax bill,
Well,
right?
$65 is, yes.
The $65 is on the tax bill.
No,
Is
it's
it
not.
It's
No,
not?
It's
Well, that's
not
what
on the
Travis
tax
is
bill.
saying.
That's
So
what-
is Travis
Based on
wrong?
what, yeah, based on what
That's
you're saying.
wrong. It's not on the tax bill. If it's on
Okay.
the tax bill, it's a tax. It's not
Not
on the tax bill.
necessarily.
Well,
Because you
not
can
necessarily
collect
because
trash
waste-
on tax
Yeah,
bills.
trash and waste is on it.
And that's not a
That's
tax,
fee.
right? So that's
a
not
fee.
true.
Yeah.
Just
But
because it's on a
this
tax
one's
bill
not
doesn't
on the
make it a
bill.
tax.
Understood,
Okay?
understood.
But if there's some distinction in what we're calling this, that's important for
Correct.
this conversation.
Yes.
Right? But I'm getting an email from someone about what it is, right? And I'm hearing something different this morning.
Yeah, and I think they use the word tax, and I think that's the biggest confusion, because.
Can you talk on the microphone if you would, tax commissioner?
I think they use the word tax, and I think, and even in their resolution way back then, they use it as a tax. It's not a tax. They classified it wrong, to be honest with you. Who you should have called is the Department of Revenue. They would have told you, it's not a tax. It's not on, it's a fee or a special assessment that we're charging the street light Now, you can call it a districts or that. We are charging them. You can call them districts or
Okay.
areas or whatever you want to call them. But it's basically, and like the attorney says, and thank you for explaining it the way you did. But it is what it is. You can call it a tax, you can call it a fee, you can call it assessment. However you want to call it, I think we should change it from a tax to an assessment or a fee, because that's what it is. It's not a tax. But if you want to call it a tax, that's fine. Doesn't matter to me.
And I guess I'll still go back and defer back to legal to clarify kind of what is it that we're going to call it if, well, we're already doing it, but we just got to call it something correctly.
Consistently.
Yes, so that we all are saying the same thing. The resolution and/or the policy will be X, whether it's a tax or not. And my clarity, and I'll let you get back to that, legal, but I just want to clarify whether or not this was for the city that you was collecting the street light.
No.
Versus, but this is the county part of it,
This
which is
is your-
fine,
this
which is
is
fine.
strictly
That-
county.
Yes, so this is all about the county, so we can exclude my thoughts in that whole thing with the city. So, but back to you, legal.
So
Attorney
let me
Wiggins.
also clarify. So you've got two fees we're talking about here.
Mhm.
We're talking about the $65, right?
Correct.
And then there's the fee that the tax commissioner is wanting to charge for like an administrative fee, right? The $4 split $2 and $2 or $3 and $1.
But you're saying that's in addition to?
That's in addition to.
Okay, just
All
want to
right.
make sure we're saying, okay.
Well, it's,
So-
in that fee that we're collecting now.
So that's what I was going
It's
to
not
say. See, it's
addition.
within the
It's
65.
already in.
So the
with
$4 is included in the
$2.
65.
$2.
Well, I thought we were splitting it
That's,
2 and 2.
that's cities you're talking about, $4.
Okay.
That's a
All
different.
right, got it. So the
We
$2.
haven't got to that yet.
The $2 is included in the $65, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we need to be sure that you guys' conversation, because in the public comment, we heard about whether or not the tax commissioner has disclosed that he's collecting this additional fee
Correct.
on top of the street light tax fee, whatever, right? And I'll get to that in a second
Okay.
about what we should call it. And so we may want to bifurcate those conversations about how much you're charging for the street light, right? Because that's under your purview to approve that by resolution as often as you want every year. I've seen in some other counties, it's done every year, versus the amount that you want to allow the tax commissioner to charge for that administrative. So the $65 obviously includes that, so that may
That's correct.
vary based on your conversation. So understand that it is a special assessment, but consistently through the other counties I've seen, they're calling it a special assessment tax, a special district tax, a special tax district. And it's saying that it's an additional charge, which this is, beyond property taxes, which it is, levied by the governing body on property owners in a targeted area to fund a specific public infrastructure improvement or repair. That's what this is. Calling it a tax triggers some other conversations that don't apply here, such as, right, because think of your special purpose local option sales tax. That requires a referendum, that requires a vote, right?
Yes, right.
So, in a sense, right, while it's being called a tax consistently, it is a special tax district, but it's an assessment within each special tax district. We should not be calling it a tax in the sense of property taxes.
Correct.
Sales taxes. That's not what this is. Does that make sense?
Understood, yes, oh,
Okay.
I get it. And thanks for your explanation. So if I'm hearing you correctly, it maybe should be labeled as a special assessment, not a special assessment tax. Are we saying the same thing? I mean, I don't know. And the reason I'm only, going through this drill is to make sure that whatever we end up with, not that this is a done deal, but we're all going to be at least saying the same thing. We're all going to be assessing from a,
I go back to what
Okay.
I would do as a special assessment. because it's not a tax. A tax would be on the digest part
Well,
of the revenue.
but
I mean, you can call it whatever you want. I have no choice in that. You guys makes those decisions, I don't.
Right,
But
right.
I would not call it a tax, because it's not a tax. It's either a special assessment or a fee. One of the two. You can come up with a better one, I employ you to, because it's really not a tax. It's not on my digest, and everything that's a tax has to be on the digest, pretty
Correct.
much.
Correct.
I mean, you could put it on the tax bill as, like she said, sanitation, streetlights. You can put it on the tax bill and we can collect it, but it's not a tax. It's really either a special assessment or a fee.
But
One of the two, or whatever you want to call it.
So that I'm clear though, but the $65 of this particular assessment, tax, fee, whatever it is, it's already on, it's already being collected, I guess I should say.
Yes.
It's already being collected.
We
That's the
do
first.
that separately.
Yes.
From the tax bill.
Right, right.
Yes.
And the $2 or $4, the amount that we're speaking of is, I think it was $2, correct me if I'm wrong, it was $2 that it's in the 65. It's not now $67 to accommodate.
It's no
It's,
extra fee.
right, there's no extra fee.
When she
Right.
set it up, she included the additional dollars for the street lights as well as the $2.
Right.
So it's already in there.
Right, so your administrative fee is in there, the two additional dollars.
Yes.
And there's no other, I think there was $2 additional dollars that we were looking at trying to, at least trying to, this county collects, you give the county two of your 2 or of your 4.
That's
That
on
was
the
just
city.
on the
That's on the
city.
city.
That was on the city, okay.
But
So
I
that's
haven't
what-
agreed to that yet either.
Oh, okay. Well,
You
we'll leave that
guys
alone.
voted on it, but I haven't
We'll leave that
agreed.
alone. We'll leave that alone. Let's stay focused. Okay, so, but I guess my only concern would be that we definitely let legal have a real hard look at what the wording is, so that we're clear on the wording, we're clear on the amount, and we're clear on what the title or what it's going to be called, whatever it is called, and then agree to whether it's a 4-year deal, 2-year deal, 6-month deal, whatever that is. Then we kind of moving accordingly. But right now, I just think,
Look, you can make it a 1-year deal, 6-month.
Oh, I understand.
I
Yeah.
mean, you guys are in control of that.
Right.
I have no qualms about how long it is. We can do this every year if you want to.
Correct.
I have
I
no
think-
qualms about that whatsoever.
understood. And I think these guys kind of see and hear that, so I think we're clear on that end. It's just that I think we got to decide on what's the wording. What,
My issue wasn't with the wording. My
Okay.
issue was
Okay.
if for 20-plus years, almost 30 years, this is being collected by the tax commissioner's office. The resolution says that it can be by any department as designated by the Board of Commissioners. For the last 30 years, it's been designated to the tax commissioner's office, and none of the scope of work has changed. Why are we paying an administrative fee of $2? That is my issue.
You don't have to. It's your choice. If you choose to have finance collected, that's fine.
I'm
but
sorry.
that would, yeah.
I think Madam County Attorney was going to say
Okay.
something.
County
So-
Attorney, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. So let me just reiterate, you have a special tax district. Each parcel is a special tax district. Within it, you collect fees, assessments, taxes, like property taxes, like you collect taxes, fees, and assessments within each special tax district. For the purposes of these streetlights, they're not sales taxes or property
Right.
taxes. If that word tax gets us hung up, then we should not call it a tax. But it is a special tax district. Okay?
I agree. I'm with you.
For purposes of whether or not, to Commissioner Kenner Jones's question about 20 years, every agreement is for 1 year with the ability to automatic renew every year, but if you wanted to not automatically renew, you obviously terminate. I think what I hear the tax commissioner saying is if the $2 fee is not included, then your office isn't going to collect it, someone else can.
Yeah.
That was going to be my next part of that conversation, though, but go ahead.
So that's just clarity
Yes.
for,
You can choose it, finance to collect it, you can choose whoever sent you the email to collect it, they're in charge of it, that's your choice. You're the Board of Commissioners. Make a decision. I'm not here to be
It
stuck
sounds
on
like
that
they chose the
decision.
tax commissioner's office to collect that fee.
Based on the resolution, as Kendra Jones read earlier, that's kind of where it evolved from.
That's where it evolved from.
Right.
But that doesn't say, that tax commissioner agreed to it. This tax commissioner hasn't agreed to anything yet. Let's just say it like it is. I haven't agreed to anything yet. That tax commissioner agreed to it. It's just like you guys came up with a $2 fee on the city taxes. I haven't agreed to that. That's not your agreement. That's the agreement between me and the city.
Right.
That's not your agreement.
And let's stay on just this one, because I think, because when we get into the city, that's a whole nother conversation, because.
We're gonna get to that one then.
Yes, right. That's a whole nother conversation. So, okay, so here's where we are, and I'm gonna yield the floor back though, but I just think, based on Commissioner Jones' resolutions read, that there was already an establishment of the tax commissioner collecting this special tax or special assessment. However, if I'm hearing you correctly, that's not what you will agree upon.
We'll
Okay.
see.
I'm just making it clear. I'm just making sure we put it all out there on the floor, so everybody's clear.
Everything's negotiable. If you have a problem with something and you talk to me, like it says, we can come to an agreement or a disagreement.
Right.
But you're not going to dictate to me what I have to do and what I can do and what I have to do. I'm not going to take that.
Understood. And
I don't work for the Board of Commissioners. I'm not a department
don't
head
answer
of the Board of Commissioners. So I don't have to follow what you want me to do. You can ask me to do it, and I'll be happy to work with you to come to a resolution to do whatever we have to do to make this county whole. That's our job,
Understood.
and to work for the citizens of Douglas County.
Okay. And on that note, I'm going to yield back the floor, Madam Chair, and
Okay.
let you kind of take it from there. But thank you again, Tax Commissioner. I appreciate it. And thank you, Attorney Wiggins.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, Board, regarding this matter? Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
Thank you. All right, so great dialogue here, and I guess one of the questions I want to know, since I'm big into finance, what are we looking like if we collected the full $65? How much more from that $2 fee would then come back to the county? What is that a roundabout dollar amount?
I would
look
say
like?
get with your finance
I
people.
mean, do we have an idea, like a range, or?
I don't have a range. I'd say get with your finance people. I'm not going to try to predict. You
Okay.
have to get with finance, and I'll be happy to sit down with him.
Okay, or do we have it for last year then, just from a point of reference, so?
Get with finance, and they probably can come up with it for you.
Okay, so as of right now, $65, of which $2 comes back, or how's that $2, I guess, administered? Is it just taken out and $63 comes back to the county, or how is that? I'm just trying to get an understanding from a
I
from
think
a process standpoint.
$64 come back to the county, yeah.
$64, so it's not $2 now, it's $1?
Well, if you get 66 and I get 2,
No, we got 65, I thought.
65.
what was it?
The resolution says $65 per
Oh, 65, I'm sorry.
Correct, so we got 65, of which
Right.
2 is with the tax commissioner.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get an understanding, is there a separate check then that comes back to the county, or?
Yes. We send that to the county
Okay, so it's just a one-time check that comes back to the county
every year.
every year, minus the $2 per.
Right.
Yes, sir.
He has those numbers. That's why I say he would have those numbers, so. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not going to guess. I've gotten in trouble guessing before. So,
All right, okay, I would like to know those numbers certainly, so for conversation.
and we could do it
and
today.
purposes, yeah.
I'll stick around and we can get them for you before you leave.
Yeah, so we'll know what we're talking about, how much additionally could potentially come back to the
Before
county.
you leave, I'll have them for you.
Okay, great. All right, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much. I believe, any other questions before we move forward? Okay, Vice Chairman, you have the floor.
So do you know how many streetlights or district assessments that you collect in the county?
I don't know off the top of my head. We
Okay.
can do that too before you leave today.
Okay. what all goes in, because I'm sure this data is already in your system, and every year we know how many subdivisions we build. How much work goes into adding these, we'll now call it an assessment, to each bill? It's just already, or I'm sure it's already in the system, so it's probably a punch of a key at the computer.
No, I wish. But no, it does more than that. No.
That's
I'd
a lot
have
of
to get
manual
with
work, though,
my
isn't it?
accounting lady and ask her how much goes into that. It's hours, but it's not just punching it in.
So that data's not already there, where from previous
The
years.
data, some of the data's already there, but you gotta remember, they're building subdivisions every day. putting
Understood.
Street lights in. Sometimes we even have to go out and look at, Barnhill goes out and checks that stuff also. So I can't tell you right off the top of my head.
So there's not a person assigned to keeping up with this? Or is this all done one time at the end of the year manually?
All done one time at the end of the year.
A lot of manual work.
A lot of manual work.
A lot of manual
Yes,
work,
yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's not,
Right.
I wish it was push the computer in. And
It just
you
doesn't
got
seem
to-
efficient.
Yeah, but you
We've been dealing with-
probably 20 subdivisions and streetlights and apartment complexes going up right now. So everything changes. So by the time they finish that, it's still a lot of manual stuff that goes into this.
Just
So it's
as-
a lot of work. It's not just,
I'm just thinking, as long as we've been doing this now, how come has not been set up to be more efficient? But anyway.
we're working on it.
Okay.
I guarantee you, we're working on it. Every time I come up with something that costs, though, I get a little pushback on computerizing stuff. So best way is to computerize stuff, but again, that costs money too, so.
All right, I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Vice Chair. Certainly, hopefully, there's some software out there that has an interface that will allow this process to be seamless. Sounds like a lot of key in, a lot of.
It is.
Data entry at the end of the year for you and your team.
And it's electronic. It's part electronic and part keying in, part going back out and getting into the field also. But don't get me wrong, we still have quite a bit of it that's electronically done.
County Attorney, you were reading something earlier. Certainly, I would be interested in seeing what other counties, you said that they are charging that, I call it the assessment fee, administrative fee. So is there a list of counties out there? Because certainly.
No, I just did a Google search of, streetlight tax districts. And so Carroll County has created a special tax district where within the district, they collect for streetlights, stormwater, parks and rec, street and road construction. Fayette was another one. Oconee was another one. So not a list, just a search.
Yes. Okay. County Administrator, I believe, thank you so much, County Attorney. County Administrator, I believe you wanted to add something.
We may just have to do some additional research if that's what you need.
Yeah, need some more research. And, I know this item is, certainly I know we have a year before we will be collecting again. Certainly, I'm not comfortable.
I'm not in any hurry.
And I want to
Take
make
your
sure that
time.
we do our due diligence.
Do your
and
due diligence and
compare.
whatever you need to do.
So we're not hard pressed. So I just, Clerk, if we could, I would like to, and certainly I would defer to the board, I would like this one removed, just to let us do a little more research and a little work and comparison to other counties, whether they're doing, we're looking at something that's 20 years old, this is 2025, let's see what, that may be the trend now, the additional funding or administrative fee. We just want to make sure that we are in line with other counties, if we could, at least have something to compare with. Are you all okay with that? Just taking it off for tomorrow? And letting us look at it just a little more.
I'm in
Commissioner.
no hurry.
Okay.
You guys asked me to come back.
Yes. Okay, Clerk, we're going to move,
happy to
I would like this
wait.
item removed for tomorrow, just so we need a little more time.
I think we still have to have it on the agenda and defer it for tomorrow
Okay, that'll be
again.
fine. And I'll just call a motion to defer it. Okay, thank you.
They got anything else?
Thank you so much, Tax Commissioner, for coming in. You have the floor.
Thank you.
Clerk.
Number 8 is approval of a contract between the Superior Court Accountability Courts and Teresa Gordy for consulting services for the period of January 7th, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, at a rate of $45 per hour, not to exceed 30 hours per week, to be funded through the department's existing budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Karen Alexander.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the board. It's that time of the year where it's time to look at our yearly contracts and renew those that have expired. So on this one, I'm asking for approval of the contract between the accountability courts and Teresa Gordy to continue, and we're asking the chairman to sign all related documents.
Okay, thank you. Board, any questions for Ms. Alexander? Okay. Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
Thank you. Yeah, it's more of a statement versus questions, and in the contract, there are certain language in here that speaks to his or he versus her.
I'm sorry, we'll get that corrected.
Okay, because I know.
It's a she.
Okay, a she, because in the witness section as well as in section 7, there's some references to his or him.
I'll relook at that, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I give the floor back to you.
Okay, any other questions, board? All right, thank you so much, Ms.
The next one's
Alexander.
mine as well.
Okay, okay.
Yes. Approval of agreements between the Superior Court Accountability Courts and Matthew Underwood, Victor Rivas, William Taylor, Chris Reeves, Julius Allman, Natalie Polk, Terrence Dukes, Michael Nathan Mitchell, and Daniel Sperano, to provide law enforcement surveillance for the Superior Court Accountability Courts to be funded through the department's existing budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Karen?
Yes, we're asking for the approval of these agreements between the officers and the chairman to sign all related documents for pending final legal review.
Okay. Any questions, board? Okay.
Thank you.
No
Y'all have a
questions.
good day.
Thank you, Ms. Alexander. Clerk?
Number 10, authorization to approve Atlantic Coast Consulting Task Order 2024-8 for Trench 8 topographic survey and base grade verification, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Heath Cowart.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair,
Good morning.
Commissioners. How are you?
Great.
Happy
Doing
New
great.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Yeah, this is just another standard, the construction of the cell. This is the last phase of our construction of cell 8, which Trench 8 is in. That is the last cell on the C&D landfill. We have 3 different levels that will fill on top of each other, and this will certify that what was done before and the map of what is done now, it will show EPD that we are exactly where we need to, granted, so we can put trash into it. And then that starts the cell, which will go with Trench 8 immediately following, which is in Cell 8, so it's kind of confusing, but it's the same area, and then we'll go right on top for the remainder of our duration, putting C&D in the ground with Douglas County. So, any questions?
Okay, any questions, board? Vice Chairman, you have the floor.
Just because you just made that comment, how
Yes,
many more years do you think we have of use out of that landfill?
3 years at the current pace, but where we're at with Ray Lynn coming on site now this month, starting, everything's going to be pushed through the new transfer station. So we're within a year of that being complete is our goal. So everything goes through there, minus at that point it'll be like WSA, it'll be DOT, will be the only ones really storing anything, even C&D there. So the volume's going to drastically change, which will extend the year. So it'll be hard to tell, but it's going to be, I would say we go from 3 to 10 years if we can do this within a year and get it done. So
Okay. All right. I yield back,
that's my
Madam Chair.
guess, but I'll, by the end of the year, we'll know more
Okay.
for sure.
I yield
Okay.
back.
Thank you so much,
Anyone
Vice
else?
Chair.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions, board? All right, thank you.
Okay.
Clerk?
Number 11, authorization for the chairman to execute the 2025 annual agreement with Turner Ross Germain as legal counsel for the Board of Tax Assessors, pending final legal review. Oh, Steve Balfour.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners, other members of Douglas County Governing Authority. Good morning and a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
This is our annual renewal of the contract for our attorneys, Turner Ross Germain, and I'm here to answer any questions if necessary.
Board of Commissioners, you have any questions regarding this renewal? Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
Thank you. And it's more of a comment. Having had the opportunity to serve on the Board of Assessors and working directly with this firm, they have done a great job. And I think they certainly was a definite upgrade and enhancement and has done a great amount of legwork for the Board of Assessors. So I just wanted to share that with my fellow commissioners that I've had the opportunity to work both with Valerie as well as Meredith, and they have done just an outstanding job serving in that capacity. So I just wanted to make that comment, and Madam Chair, you have the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Roxton, and I totally agree. I think great is an understatement. They're doing an excellent job.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Balfour.
Just 1 minute.
Okay,
Yeah.
1
just-
minute. Commissioner Mitchell, you have the
Okay,
floor.
Right. I won't take a minute though. But are the numbers changing here? Are the numbers the same? I don't want to know the numbers.
They are the same. It
Okay.
has not changed.
Nothing
No.
changed? Okay, all right. So it's within your budget and all that good stuff, so we should be good?
Yes.
Okay, good enough. I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Clerk, you have the tab
Number 12, approval of change orders 3, 4, 5, and 6 with Lowe's Design for Winston Park Design Renovation in the amount of $102,800 to be funded through 2022 SPOS funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chad Griffin.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Board of Commissioners. Good morning, County Administration. These are change orders to keep the Winston project moving forward. The first one is construction document services in the amount of $14,276.25. The second change order is permitting and bidding services in the amount of $17,500. The third change order would be soil sampling. The first samples that we received, we found out that it's where they were projecting to put the septic.
Right.
There's a AT&T fiber optic line going right through where they're going to put that. So that's the reason for the additional samples. And then the fourth one is the interactive fountain and pump equipment room. We went back and forth on this. I'm doing a prefab building, a brick building, and we eventually decided to put it in the concession stand. So the total amount for the change order is $102,800.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, who have any questions for our director? Okay. Thank you so much, Director Griffin. All right, Board of Commissioners, we've reached a point where you could provide some comments if you have any comments. Do you have anything? Any
I did.
additional comments? Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
Yes, I don't know if there's an oversight, but I think there was one item that probably need to be added to the agenda, which is the nomination of the vice chair. And I think, and I spoke to legal and all these guys about this, that we had moved it from December to this first meeting. So just FYI, I think that needs to be added back to the agenda. Probably as an oversight that we didn't have that there or something.
Well, looking back, I think it had just been removed from the agenda. It wasn't deferred.
Oh, got it.
To a certain date.
Okay. So we'd like to add that to the upcoming, to this agenda, basically. Outside of that, that's all I got.
Commissioner, you said add, or so we need to call a motion for you to add that item because it was removed completely, I believe. That was the intent, to be removed, but certainly
Okay.
it was removed, so you know what I'm saying, from the agenda. It wasn't deferred or anything, so I'm just trying to figure out how do I do that?
Correct me if I'm wrong, if we don't vote on this, then we don't have basically a vice chair, correct?
So the history of all of this would
Okay.
need to be discussed so that you can get to that conclusion. And I certainly think that it requires to be added to the agenda.
Okay.
If the board is okay with there being discussion in addition to a vote tomorrow, then I don't see anything wrong with adding it to the business session tomorrow. But that's a decision you guys would need to make. But there's certainly some discussion that needs to be had about the history of how we got here.
Yeah. Okay.
So does his motion need a second, or?
No. We're just going to add it based on what the county attorney said. Certainly, we can discuss, and that's something I would like to discuss. It probably would be in executive session.
And I do have just one
Okay.
question.
Okay, you have the floor. Commissioner Kenna Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And my question, I guess, is for legal or commissioner comment. I would ask that before we come back on this issue of the fee, it's my understanding that this is, in essence, like an ad valorem tax, which would mean then it would be appropriate to be collected. And so if you all could just look into that and give us an answer tomorrow, that would be very helpful.
Certainly, but I can answer that now. It is
Okay.
certainly not an ad valorem tax.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other remarks, board? Okay. With that being said, County Attorney, do we need to go in executive session?
Yes. And if the motion is made for all 4 reasons, that will cover everything.
Okay, I want to make sure I hit them all.
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel, litigation, cybersecurity,
Real estate.
And real estate.
and real estate.
Yeah.
Second.
Write it down, Mr. Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second on the floor? We have a motion and a second. Board, any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Please indicate by raising your right hand so we can go into executive session. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. Citizens of Douglas County, we will take a slight pause for the calls for the Board of Commissioners to go into executive session, and we will return momentarily.